Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that takes sources you're curious about and, well, we pull out the key stuff so you can get up to speed fast.
Yeah, quickly informed.
Exactly. And today, oh, this is fascinating. We're looking at an article called Imagining Education, Earth versus PA 99 and 2.
Right.
And it's taking us on this mental journey, really, thinking about how our own education systems, our values are built, and how different they could be somewhere else.
It's a really provocative piece. What grabbed me straight away was this core idea that so much of what we think is fundamental about education,
Yeah.
well, it's not set in stone.
It's just made up.
In a way, sort of, yeah. It's evolved based on our specific history, our values here on Earth, things we decided were important.
Okay, and that's the jumping off point for this whole deep dive, isn't it? This thought experiment.
Right.
What if reading and writing weren't the be-all and end-all? Imagine if, I don't know, motor planning, that ability to coordinate your movements, precisely what if that was the absolute key skill for success?
And that's exactly where the author takes us. They invent this fictional planet, PA 99N2, way out in the Andromeda Galaxy, which, by the way, always fascinates me, Andromeda.
Yeah, me too. But it's not just a random planet, right? The environment is key.
Totally key. The author describes it really vividly. It's got this rugged surface, really challenging weather conditions, constant shifts underfoot, sudden ice storms, that kind of thing.
Okay, so pretty harsh.
Very. And because of that, the article calls them people-like creatures who evolved there. They naturally developed incredible physical skills.
It's sense for survival.
Exactly. Their survival literally depended on having amazing balance, agility, really fine-tuned motor control.
So that physical side became dominant.
Right. And here's where it gets interesting culturally. Unlike Earth, where, writing and literacy became super central on PA 99 and 2, they evolved more through physical expression. Think complex dances, rituals involving movement, really sophisticated martial arts.
So motor planning wasn't just useful, it was fundamental.
Absolutely crucial for everything. Dodging predators, getting food, you name it. That ability to plan and execute movement precisely became the driver.
Okay, let's pause there. So, on Earth, literacy often unlocks doors, right? Better jobs, more opportunities.
Generally.
But on PA99N2, it's the opposite. Because their lives, even their tech, it's all based on physical interaction.
Yeah, the article mentions operating tools, even complex machines, through gestures and physical sequences.
Wow. So mastery of movement is the path to success.
That's the core idea. And naturally, that completely shapes their education system.
Oh, so?
Well, kinesthetic learning by moving it isn't just one method. It's the method. It's the foundation.
So from day one.
From a very early age, yeah. Physical training is woven into absolutely everything they learn.
I'm trying to picture their schools. The article mentioned something about special classrooms.
It does. For kids who struggle with the physical skills, which just completely flips our script on what a learning difficulty might even mean, doesn't it?
Totally. It really makes you think. So what about the kids who are good at movement there?
Oh, well, they're the gifted ones. The article suggests they get fast-tracked. Prestigious institutions, leading to really high-status, well-paid careers.
Like what kind of careers?
Think biomechanics experts, analyzing movement down to the tiniest detail. Incredible aerial performers, master dancers, balance training specialists, renowned martial arts instructors. These are the jobs that get all the respect and the big salaries.
Okay, now here's the kicker. The contrast with us.
Right.
On PA 99N2, the fields we often value highly, computer science, accounting, academic research, even law, they're seen as less important, lower status, lower pay. It's wild to imagine parents not being thrilled if their kid wanted to be like a data analyst.
It really forces you to look at how culturally specific our values are. It's just constructed. And this whole setup, this contrast, it pushes us to ask, what do we even mean by intelligence or ability?
Yeah, the author poses that question directly to you, the listener. If you were on PA 99N2, what would your career be? Would you be considered gifted?
It's a really powerful question.
It is. It immediately makes me think about people here on Earth. Maybe someone who wasn't great at traditional school subjects, but is incredibly coordinated or has amazing spatial awareness.
Exactly. Those people might be the leaders, the innovators on PA 99N2.
They'd thrive there.
Perhaps,
Yeah.
And the author gets personal here. They talk about how literacy came easily to them, making Earth school relatively smooth sailing.
Okay.
But they also admit to having, significant challenges with motor planning, coordination issues.
Right.
They actually imagine life on PA 99N2 being filled with misery and anxiety for them personally.
That paints a picture, and they give examples, right? Like getting stuck on a cliff,
Yeah.
breaking wrists.
Yeah, almost comical, relatable examples of clumsiness, but it illustrates the point perfectly. Some strengths and weaknesses, they just kind of happen. Genetics, environment, whatever.
It's not always about effort or choice.
Not entirely, no.
Oh.
And this links directly to students here on Earth who get labeled special ed or having special needs.
Oh, so.
The article floats the idea that maybe their struggles aren't an inherent lack of ability, but a mismatch. A mismatch with the very specific skills our current Earth system chooses to prioritize and reward.
So you have to ask yourself, which planet fits your skill set better, Earth or PA99N2?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe more importantly, think about kids, especially kids who find our school system tough. How might they do on this other planet?
The perspective shift.
Definitely. And I think the big takeaway, the central point the author is making with this whole imaginative exercise is just how constructed our education systems and values really are. They're not universal truths.
Not at all. They grew out of our specific history, our specific needs, or perceived needs anyway.
And if they're constructed, if they're, like the article says, simply made up, well, then we can change them, right? We can reimagine them.
That's the implication. The article really pushes for more evolving fluidity and adaptability in our own systems here on Earth.
We need to be more flexible.
And maybe ask different questions. Why do we value certain intellectual skills so much more than others? Are we really seeing and nurturing all the different kinds of talents out there?
It feels like the answer is probably no, or at least not as well as we could be.
I think that's fair to say. Looking at a completely different model, even a fictional one like PA99N2, it can genuinely help us see our own system more clearly.
And maybe inspire us to build something more inclusive, more equitable.
Exactly. An environment that really sees and values the unique strengths every single child brings, whatever those strengths look like.
Because our definitions of smart, of successful, they're tied so tightly to the world we've built.
They really are. It's all interconnected.
So, okay, final thought for you to take away and chew on. Think about something, just one thing that you've always struggled with, personally. Now imagine, how might that same struggle be seen on a planet like PA99N2? Could it actually be unimportant or maybe even valued?
Interesting.
What does reflecting on that tell you about the biases, maybe the hidden assumptions embedded in our own world? Something to think about.